Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Success Podcast. I am your host, Cassidy Quintana. Super excited for today's episode. Today, I have Anneleise McEvoy, social media manager at Remington Hospitality. Anneleise, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super excited you're here. Obviously, we've talked a little bit before this episode, so I've gotten to know you some, and especially from your LinkedIn presence. But for our listeners who may not be familiar with you or Remington Hospitality, could you give us a little bit of background about how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely. So I've always loved social media marketing. I've been passionate about it ever since college, and it was a career path that I always wanted. I started out in college being super involved with clubs and internships where I did social media. So in 2020, when I graduated, I moved to Dallas to pursue a career in social media marketing at a food and beverage marketing agency that's top here in Dallas. I started out as a social media specialist, went all the way up to a senior account executive. So I worked there for 3 years. And then at my 3 point mark, I was like, how can I mix one of my hobbies, which is traveling, into my career? And so I was scrolling through LinkedIn one day and came across a job posting at Remington Hospitality, reached out to my now boss, Alexis, and she told me about this awesome opportunity that she was building a in-house social media agency for their portfolio of hotels. And so the rest is history. I am a social media manager at Remington, like you said, and one week is different than every day is different, is what I'm trying to say. I might be in Key West learning about a 100-year hotel or making content on a private beach, or I might be closer to Dallas, where I'm based now, in Fort Worth, marketing a trendy girl dinner experience on their rooftop. So that's what I love about social media. Every property has its story, and I get to help tell that story through social media.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the different locations because that kind of leads me into my next question. At Remington, you guys have properties that span across very different markets. Like you said, something in Key West is not going to resonate with someone that's looking at a hotel in Texas. So when you guys are kind of building those strategies, how do
Yep.
you make sure that it feels unique to each property, but still staying, efficient as a corporate social team?
For sure, for sure. So one thing I always say, you can't market a property that you've never experienced. And I'm
Right.
sure that that's true in every industry. I know that it was true in the food and beverage industry too. So before I build a social media strategy, I want to walk the property. I want to eat at the restaurant. I want to meet the team and experience it like a guest. So that's where you discover the little things that make the hotel memorable, the experience. So that's the first thing. I want to visit the hotel like a guest. And
Yeah.
then I pair that with the brand standards. So, for example, if you're a Marriott, a Moxie should feel completely different than an autograph collection. Every hotel should have a personality, but in that personality, we're working in the brand standards. So at the end of the day, hotels don't sell rooms. It's all about the experience. We're selling experiences. So social media's job, every content creators that come into the property, our job is to create a place where someone wants to book before they even book. So that aesthetic feed is where they picture themselves experiencing.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love that. And it's interesting because when we think probably when you first started in social media or even when we were in college, social media was a completely different thing that it is now. We've seen all these updates, and especially in this new age of AI, things are changing. So to you and what you've noticed with your job, like how has social media changed, even from 2 to 3 years ago, and how has that changed your day-to-day role with what you're doing at Remington?
Honestly, everything, like
Yeah.
you just said. 6 years ago, social media landscape changes literally every single day. I feel like I open Instagram and there's a new update. Like last week, you can scroll through an Instagram carousel. I'm sure you've probably seen. and you don't have to pick one caption. You can caption each photo now. So just things like that. There's just always another update that content creators, social media managers have to publicize out to the property teams as well. But I actually think that's one of the most exciting parts of social media because it's ever changing and we can, there's always something new to learn. And then on top of every algorithm that's changing, I think the biggest thing that's changed in the social media industry is influencer marketing. Because when I started 6 years ago, I would give an influencer a pizza and beer, and they would post 5 in-feed posts about it. And they would post it all on their stories and tag us and even do weekly posts. And I just gave them a pizza and beer. Um, and now creators understand the value that they provide and are asking for paid collaborations, which I don't think is a bad thing because we're getting more of that quality content.
Yeah.
But the challenge there is finding a partnership that works for both parties because for everyone watching, you probably know that hospitality budgets aren't as big as people think. And
Right.
so even the marketing budget. So I think it's about negotiating with influencers and giving them what they need as well as what we need. Um, and then the last part of that question, I think that's changed is, of course, AI. I think I have a pretty strong opinion on it, on the marketing landscape. I think there's a right way to use AI
Yeah.
and a lazy way to use AI. So, of course, when you're scrolling your LinkedIn or any social media platform, you see captions with M marks and you assume that they're a AI generated caption. But I think marketers should use it to enhance their ideas.
Right.
In my career, I found that all marketers have creativity. So it's just an enhancement. Make a good idea great. And AI is not here to replace creativity, I would say.
I definitely think it's can be used as a vehicle, like you said, to enhance the skills you already have and even just to like bounce ideas. I know I use AI a lot of times, like, hey, I have this post idea. What do you think about it? Or, asking AI to just clean up my copy a little bit or, helping me along the way. And we'll talk a little bit more about AI further down. But since you mentioned influencers, I did want to ask you about that because you do work closely with influencers. So from your point of view, like you said, not every influencer is a match and not every influencer is going to deliver what you want them to deliver. And a lot of the times when hospitality professionals think about influencers, they just want someone with a lot of followers, right? They just want the big numbers, but there has to be alignment. So for you, and when you guys are working with influencers, kind of what separates a good partnership from someone, that maybe doesn't fit that well? And how do you guys go about finding those influencers?
For sure. I think what you just said, people think about the follower count and just look about at follower count. It's all about the vetting process up front. So you're looking at engagement rate. I'd rather work with someone with a higher engagement rate, a smaller audience, and people that are connecting with their followers, and you can see that that's genuine.
Right.
That's someone than someone that has over 1 million followers and doesn't have a connected audience. And I find that their content is more authentic, anyways. One of my favorite success stories actually happened the other week. He did have a lot of followers, but it's not even about his content. It was the creator. We always, after creator partnership, we always ask what we could have done better or how their story went. And it was a creator telling us he brought his whole family, extended family, and he already booked a trip for Thanksgiving with his family again
Wow.
because they loved the experience so much. So that's when influencer marketing, influencer relationships become more than just the content. It creates future guests because they're going to keep coming back. And if they're passionate about the property, you know that you have an ongoing partnership.
Right.
So I think that's super important to create those ongoing partnerships as well.
I love that you said that because when you're talking about that, it makes me think of the parallel of just hospitality in general and how hotels treat their guests because, you guys hired this influencer to come create content and share his story about his stay there.
Yeah.
And in turn, he wants to come back. That's the same exact thing in the same way that hotels should treat their guests too, because they're kind of like micro influencers in a way. Like they're telling their friends and family if their stay was good, they're going to post about it on social media if their stay was good. So I love that there's that parallel there. And a lot of the times, you know, influencers can be expensive. I think we all know that, especially in this
Yes.
age. Like they're making enough money to live off of it, but there are those micro influencers that do still have dedicated audiences. So I think it's important not to, just look them over because they may not have the biggest numbers that you've ever seen. But kind of
Totally.
along those lines, I want to talk about, content that hotels can post because I talk a lot about on my webinars and other podcasts about content that's evergreen or things that
Yeah.
can work across the
I love
board. So is there any kind of content that you guys do at Remington that you see that works well no matter where the property is located? Like just some type of evergreen content that you see that works really well?
I like you. For sure. And I think, again, this works for across the board for every industry because I found this in the food and beverage industry as well. But two things that always perform best: pets and people. So if you're a pet friendly hotel and you're not posting that dog, you're missing an opportunity. And it helps that I have a golden retriever. So every day, that's one of my favorite parts of my job. I do community management as well as content creation. And so every day I get to go on the hotel social media and scour the comments, send the DMs, everything. And I love to repost pet content as it comes in. But also, my favorite type of content is highlighting people behind the performance. So, whether it's a chef, a bartender, a housekeeper. At Remington, actually, our motto is driven by people, powered by performance.
Love that.
And social media is one of the best ways to bring that to life. I actually have a story about that. At one of our Key West properties, it's been around for maybe 20, 25 years. But we have a bartender that works there that she has worked there the whole entire time.
Wow.
So every time I post a photo of her, I'm not kidding you, I get 250 organic comments commenting about their experience with her, a story about her, how she makes the best drinks, how they're booking the hotel because of her. And when I go to lifestyle photo shoots and see her, she explains that the guests are her friends. She's
Yeah.
traveled the world with some of the guests. So it's always about highlighting the people behind the performance and behind the scenes as well. And people like seeing that connection. They don't like just seeing the evergreen. So I think posting people is a way to do that.
And in a way, I feel like that is evergreen. You just said she's worked there the entire time. Like,
Yes.
and people love her. So, keep posting her. I love that because I have that same kind of relationship with some hotels that I regularly go to with my family, like bartenders or,
Yes.
general managers, things like that. And that makes, like you said earlier, like we're booking an experience and not just somewhere to sleep, right? So having that comfortability with people that work at the property just makes it better. And social media, we work in like the most feel good industry. Our social media should reflect that. It's the most exciting industry to me because it is changing every day. There's something new to talk about. People are always wanting to travel. People love to travel. Like it should be fun content to kind of match that. But kind of on, the other side of social media marketing and some things that can scare hoteliers is like that paid social strategy. So for you guys at Remington, do you have a paid ad strategy? And if you do, what is your, attack to figuring out, okay, we're going to put some money behind this post or we're going to keep this one organic? Is there a strategy there? And what does that look like for you guys?
There's a strategy. I think that's one of the things that has changed in the social media marketing world since 6 years ago as well. I think all social is pay to play. So
Yeah.
you need an organic strategy and you need to layer in a paid strategy. So paid social for me always starts with one question. If a hotel asks, hey, I would love to market a seasonal activation, or I'd love to market, let's say, Easter brunch, Father's Day brunch, 4th of July. What's the business goal? What, what, who do you want to see?
Right.
So start with that one question. What's the business goal? And we just invest in where paid can reach the right visibility and right audience, and support the business results that we created in that strategy. So always start with that one question.
I love that. I think that's a great way to go at it because it helps hoteliers that may be doing their own social media for their hotel. Like, okay, I know what my goal is for this post. So if you already have that in mind, that's a great way to kind of look at your strategy and understand which ones should be organic and which ones should be having that ad spend behind it. We kind of
Definitely.
mentioned this earlier that, authentic, feel good, posting your people. We're seeing a lot of Instagram has honestly flipped a little bit. When it first came out, it was very like, post your best photo with the best filter.
Yes.
You want that perfect shot. But now it's like that we don't want that anymore. We don't want polished photos on Instagram. We want authentic. We want real. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of user generated content. I'm sure you have great photos of the property. So how do you balance that of, we do want to show what the property looks like, but we also want to show the authentic everyday, scene of the hotel. So what's that balance like of UGC, of user generated content, the photos and videos you guys have taken? How do you kind of balance that together?
For sure. Like you said, I don't think it's an either or conversation. I think you need to have both. Professional lifestyle photography and videography is our evergreen content.
Right.
I think the cool thing about Remington when I came on, hotels did understand that they needed lifestyle photography and videography. So we've gotten to do a lot of lifestyle shoots and create social media campaigns that are evergreen and throughout the year. Kind of with our lifestyle photo shoots, we also ask the property, hey, do you have any events that are going to be coming up since we're in July for 4th of July? And ask them from there if they want some professional photography. But basically, that lifestyle evergreen content is the foundation of what we post. So I would say 80% of our content calendars are that professional use, more polished look that you were talking about. But I think that you're right. I don't think that we've moved away from the aesthetic feed to people want to visualize themselves in the feed. How am I going to experience that rooftop bar? How am I going to swim at the pool and get drinks brought to me type of thing? So that's where we layer creator partnerships. And usually with our creator partnerships, we request one reel to be part of their deliverables where we can do a collaboration post where we share that engagement. It goes on both pages. And then UGC, user generated content, is an interesting conversation because obviously you don't want to post every single post that you're
Right.
tagged in. So our process, we vet at the beginning of the month what we would like to post. And then you have to be careful about permissions.
Right.
So we always ask if we can post before posting it. But layering that in as the last one to make the page more authentic. And I mean, to conclude, the best hotel pages balance both.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And you guys, you're managing multiple properties, social media. So obviously you can't be at the property every day capturing that content in real time. And a lot of hoteliers and people that work at hotels, like we're hands off of social media because
For
Remington
sure.
is doing that for us. So
Okay.
is there, how do you kind of get that buy-in from them? If there is something going on at the property, like, hey, can you please get some photos? Like, so we can in turn post this on social media because I know it can be hard to get them to want to do that, right? It's like the last thing on their mind because they've already given that to you guys. So is there a way to create that buy-in without like making it seem like we're just asking them for more and more and more?
Scary. I mean, as you're scrolling your own social media, I know that I would be daunted by creating a reel of the activation I just told the marketing team. So
Right.
I don't expect any hoteler or a director of sales and marketing to become a content creator. I start all of my social media calls like that. I expect one thing for them to be passionate about the thing that they want to market,
Yeah.
passionate about the idea that they had to bring to me. And let's give an example of maybe we have a rooftop market, farmers market experience. So when you're talking about passion with that idea, I can make it come to life.
Yeah.
So not everyone has to be a content creator, but you can create a social media champion on property. So designate one social media champion, and I hop on a call with them. They're usually very excited to capture the content. And then we make it easy with ideas and tell them how to get the best lighting, give them guidance on the best clips, and tell them that you don't need to mute the clips. We'll put on the music later.
Right.
It's just about guidance and encouragement. But basically, having one social media champion and having that passion is all you need.
No, I love that. And I think most hotels can find at least one employee that would be happy to do it, right? Happy to take those
Yes.
photos. And I'm sure they love their own social media. So why not, do it for the hotel too? I would be that person for sure. I would love to just go around properties and,
Yes,
shoot
and some
content
people
for them.
even raise their hand and say, "Hey,
Right.
I want to do this." And those are the best kind of people because you know that they're really passionate about it.
And I'm sure it makes your life easier because you don't even have to worry about finding that person, right? They've already made
Yes.
themselves known. So I'm sure that's really helpful. And that's cool to hear your guys' process because, when you work with a management group or you're working with, an agency like Travel Media Group to do your social media, it's almost like sometimes it can be hard, I think, for hoteliers to fully be hands off or, there's that kind of balance you have to have of like, I'm passionate about it. I want people to see our hotel's personality, but I'm also trusting someone else to make that come to life. So I think having that relationship with them and making sure that they understand, like, you want to bring their vision to life, right? So this is kind of an off script question, but do you have trouble, like, do they have trouble coming up with ideas? Like, how does that balance work if you guys presenting ideas versus them saying, this is what we want to talk about this month?
I think two types of hotels. Some hotels come with me with 25 ideas. Hey, can we post about National Lollipop Day? And
Yeah.
I kind of have to rein them in and say, hey, let's look at the brand standards and go back to
Yeah.
our social media strategy. And I'd love to post about these 5 things that you brought up because it's in the area. For example, the example that comes to mind is a DC hotel last year was close to the zoo, and they had pandas that were just born, and they wanted to post about it. And I was like, that was kind of random, but we can make it a thing. They wanted to
Right.
make it a whole activation. So they do come up with ideas. It's all about balance in that relationship and being able to say, no, that really doesn't fit the brand voice versus, hey, yeah, let's make that an idea. So I have hotels that bring me ideas. We talk to the hotels at least once a month to present our ideas. So whether that's a local idea, what I just said about a panda being
Right.
born and it's a big piece of news, or it's more like National Wine and Cheese Day. Hey, you should hop on this and we should get some local cheeses to come out and enhance your already done hot happy hour. So
Yeah.
kind of both ways. We present ideas, sometimes they present ideas, but
Well,
I
yeah.
like both.
That's the best of both worlds right there to have a little
Yes.
bit combo because that allows you to still have your creative side too. So, okay, kind of shifting back. I know we touched on AI a little bit, but is there any AI tools or workflows that you guys have utilized, into your social media process? And how do you think AI is going to kind of fit into social media as we continue to move forward?
Yeah. I actually think AI has made creativity in the marketing world more important, not less. Audiences know, like I said earlier, when something doesn't feel authentic. And AI is not taking everyone's jobs, as everyone's saying. Hospitality is about people, and the best stories still come from real guests, real employees, and real experiences. So they're leaving those reviews, they're leaving the comments. And I think we're the liaison between the comments and the hotel. So, for example, like I said about community management, we do community management every day, and I look at comments and reviews. I have one specific hotel that has been open, the same one as the bartender one, has been around for about 25 years. And people are repeat guests, and
Right.
they comment all the time. Hey, I have 25 days till my vacation. I'm celebrating my wedding anniversary. And so we could do an AI response back to that, but I like to send via email that comment to the hotel team and work with them on a special amenity that we can give someone, because some of the comments I see, they've gotten married there, etc. So creating those real experiences that AI hasn't. But yes, we do use AI. I think it's just as enhancements. I don't think that in the social media world, you should put your whole content calendar in there and use all of the captions, the cookie cutter captions that it comes out with. And then I think really interesting, the newest thing about AI that I've seen is AI influencers. And so I've seen a couple of those, and I think it just all goes back to being authentic. And some of those employees that you're seeing in the AI influencers are not real faces that these repeat guests are um, used to. So I think it's a good thing, and you can use it for lazy ways, like I keep saying, but just enhancements to already ideas. We've put in different activations that we've thought of, and it's came out with even better ideas. So yes, we do use AI.
Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of have to these days. It's everywhere, and so if you're not utilizing it, you might as well be utilizing it in some way to
Yes,
help
of
enhance your
course.
strategy or just to bounce ideas off. But I'm glad you mentioned that about, employees that don't actually exist, and I haven't seen that influencer thing. I'm gonna have to check that out after this, but that's kind of scary actually, like when you think
It
about it,
is.
because that stuff looks so real. And if you imagine you saw that, imagine that you saw an employee at the hotel and then you get there and then you never see them. And it's like, it can be
And
hard to make sure, like, okay, do I believe this or not?
like you said, I mean, AI is just improving every day, as we
Right.
know, and different generations look at that differently. And if an older generation looks at that AI influencer and they're like, whoa, we want to go there and we want to experience this view, and the view isn't
Right.
like it is, then it's not real. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it can definitely have a
I
negative
like,
effect too, and we might even see, negative comments, negative reviews about, I saw this image on their social media and this is not what it looks like because maybe they used AI, and it's like
yes.
there's a very fine line there. And we see it too with responding to reviews and like you mentioned, responding to comments too, how it's pretty easy to tell if something was just AI generated, but if you can take those comments and respond back to them like a real person, and then like you said later on they come to visit and you remembered that and you did something special for them, I think that's awesome. And we can't lose that humanity aspect of hospitality. And I don't think we will. Like, I think at the
Me.
base of hospitality is people, and that's what makes a hotel stay special is the people behind it. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's just a building. It may be the most beautiful resort ever, but if the staff is not nice and they don't have a good experience with them, like overall, it's not a great time. So well,
Agreed.
I appreciate your insight on those. So before we wrap up, I like to do these like rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you questions and like first thing that comes to your mind. All right. Okay. So what
Perfect.
is one hotel social media trend you think is overused or overrated?
Like you, lots of trends. I mean, I think we live in an era of pop culture,
Yeah.
and not every brand needs to participate in every single trend. So we live in an era of all these trendy TV shows, award shows, the Super Bowl, all of these things. And sometimes saying no to a trend is having a strong brand voice, and
Yeah.
it's not all cookie cutter. So I would just say don't hop on all of the memes just because they're trendy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if you saw during the World Cup, the Levi's Stadium had to cover, their logo with the white cloth, and all these brands are doing all of a sudden. It's like, that's not what that's not why it blew up. Or the same thing with
No,
the couple that just climbed the Empire State Building with the flag, and now people are putting their stuff on the
everywhere,
flag. It's everywhere. It's like,
scrolling,
okay, guys, like,
scrolling, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, it does. I get it. I get why people are doing it because
yeah.
they want that viral moment. But anyways, I digress. So, okay, favorite hotel brand or property to follow on social media that's not Remington.
Ooh, I have three. So I would say, I mean, I'm in social media, but I'm also on social media scrolling a lot. So, my local one would be Dallas Hotel Swexen. I think it's a boutique hotel, and they have a really cool aesthetic feed. Like I was talking about, lots of professional shots. So, taking inspo from there. Um, why I started in hotels, I love Eloise, the story of the plaza. So I love looking at the Plaza Hotel in New York, and they have a great dog friendly program. They get robes and room service for dogs. It's great to watch. And then the Lafayette in San Diego. I think it was recently transformed from a motel, actually. I think it's an independent. But they have a lot of great programming for food and beverage and pools and everything. And so I like looking at what events they have going on.
All right, there you heard it first, listeners. If you need social content inspiration, definitely go check those out. I'll be checking those out after this too. Okay, what's your favorite Remington campaign or post that you've done or that you've been a part of?
Yes, it's actually happening right now. So La Concha Key West is turning 100 this year. And
Nice.
I love it because we layered so many different marketing strategies into the campaign. So we had a lifestyle photo and video shoot. And the video shoot was focused on reels where it compares vintage to now time.
Nice.
And actually, every week in July, we are releasing a different video. So that's been fun. And then we had a couple weeks ago, we teased a social media giveaway. So they were established in 1926. So we teased this giveaway and we were giving away 5 lucky people $19.26 a night rates. And so if they commented at the certain time that we posted, first 5 got this. And of course, we had blackout dates apply, etc. But since we teased it, we got about 200 comments in the
Wow.
first minute. And so we had to be on the first 5 commenters, and that was really fun. And they're all staying in 2026. So it's been a really fun
That's
100-year
awesome.
campaign.
Yeah, I wish I would have known about that. I would have tried to enter.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. I love that kind of stuff too, because that, I don't know, that just adds another layer of personality beyond this day, because it shows that you really care about that relationship with guests and wanting to do that kind of stuff. Also, 100 years is impressive on its own. Okay, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a hotel that's trying to grow its social presence? Maybe they're just starting out.
Like I would say create those experiences. I would say if you have a hotel happy hour and it's just in a hotel bar and maybe your branding is European, you make a European happy hour with a viral Aperol spritz that people are going to take pictures of. Maybe it comes out in a cart. Maybe you train people to say a special word when they get this Aperol spritz. It's all about experiences on social now because that's what you get. That's when you get your user generated content. So it just makes sense. So create those experiences.
Love it. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I like to ask everybody, kind of looking ahead to 2026. I can't believe we're already more than halfway through the year. It's crazy. But what are some social marketing trends you're seeing right now that hoteliers and other social media managers should pay attention to?
I think it's actually going back to what hospitality means. I know we've talked a lot about people and experiences, and everyone is talking about all of these trends, but it's actually just saying, hey, we're in the hospitality industry. Travelers are looking for not just a place to stay anymore. They're not just putting their head on the pillow. They're looking for a place where they can experience everything. They can walk to everything. They have a navigator at the front desk telling them what the closest destination spots. They're curating that itinerary for them so they have to do no work. Um, our job as marketers, social media managers, content creators is to translate those experiences into content that makes someone think, hey, I want to go there. And then you can layer in all of the trends that people are talking about. But it's really those, hey, I want to go there moments that get you those bookings.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've had great advice all this entire episode. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. For our listeners, is there anywhere they can find you, connect with you, or Remington?
Yes, we have social media. Remington Hospitality is our handle on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn. So go follow them. And for me, Anneleise McEvoy on LinkedIn is great.
All right, perfect. Well, Annalise, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a blast talking to you. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. And we will see you next time on the Social Success Series.
Thank you.